Sorry, what?
Well, fuck you for making me go to the forums. That's all I got to say.
Fuck me for making me go to the forums.
Yeah, fuck FDev for making you go to the forums. Oh, wait, apologies. Rumors say that you listen to our podcast these days.
Yeah.
You know that's not true.
Rumors were grossly exaggerated. Hello, everybody. Here's where I pretend I know what I'm doing. This is the Loose Screws Podcast, and welcome once again. I'm Commander J Antrax, and I'm joined tonight by the illustrious Blooming Wind.
Hello.
And the illustrious Chig.
Oh, you went with illustrious. You knew I would criticize anything else you did, so I'll take it.
And the illustrious Nurgle.
Hello.
Oh God.
Your courage went away really fast. I thought you were going to just throw something else at everybody and really take a shot at like Nurgle because he's old. But no, you go illustrious for all of us.
I did.
That's fine.
And
the illustrious podcast.
The illustrious Oblivious.
My party is telling me I'm too old for this podcast.
Your party?
Yeah.
Wow.
What?
Just roll with it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. This is, yes, you know what it is because you found it on the internet somehow. It's the Loose Screws Podcast once again, back with another banger. It's oh boy, you're not ready.
There will be salt tonight.
Oh, what are you talking about? Everything. You know what? I'll go first. How was my week? Well, thanks for asking. Just fine. No big deal. Health is good. Everything's going on. Family's doing well. Did a little lawn mowing this morning. Yeah. I went, I'll tell you what, I played some Elite. I went and bought and engineered some extra guns because we're just a few weeks away from me being able to buy a Python 2. So yeah, why? What was something up? Something weird happened?
Right.
No, I didn't notice. Oh well. That's me. How's have you been, Blooming Wind?
Oh, just dandy. So we're actually this coming weekend heading to UT, beginning the college hunt in earnest for my son. So that's going to be nice.
He wants to go to Auburn.
He wants to go to Auburn, yes. But he's got to apply to more than one college. So he got all of his.
I didn't.
Nice.
Yeah, he got all of his.
I didn't. Look how successful I am.
He could actually apply to less than one if he wanted to.
Yeah, he could. He could do whatever he wants. It's a free country. But he anyway. So he's. We're visiting UT this weekend, which is going to be a lot of fun and nice to get out of the house.
Yeah. Friends don't let friends go to UT.
Oh, I know. I'm growing up in the Northeast. I'm kind of an agnostic when it comes to the SEC schools. I mean, I kind of like most of them, relatively proportional to geography. But with a daughter at Ole Miss, a nephew at Auburn, I have a soft spot in my heart for both of those. So
it's a good thing you didn't decide to practice medicine in Alabama, because when you move into the state, a state trooper stops you at the state line and you have to declare.
And puts leeches on your nuts.
Oh, yeah. No,
yeah, medicine is different there.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of ball talkers. Well, that conversation went to a place I was not expecting, and it went that fast.
It's going to be an efficient night.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then in game, I've just been, killing things and with reckless abandon. So that's kind of been my week. So.
You mean at work? You've just been killing stuff?
No. Work, I've been saving lives.
At work, the opposite. Chasing off the death.
Work, quite the opposite. So,
that's how he achieves work-life balance.
Yes. So, although with work-life balance, I had to send a nastygram to my boss at one of my two hospitals because apparently, so one of my hospitals I work at, I'm salaried, and then the other hospital that I work at, it's productivity. And so every year you log your hours, you act like you're an hourly employee, and so we get paid out if we go 5% over our contract, but no more. So if I put in 5% more hours than what I'm expected to do, then I get that paid out. So apparently, like this year, they don't want to do that. So I'm going to have a little bit words with my boss because all of my friends
You're
are
going to do
actually
5% less then.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So like a lot of my friends have been kind of, you know, voting with their feet and taking the generous amounts of vacation time that we are offered, and I just don't. I just work, and but I'm like, well, if I'm working, I want to get paid for
Dude,
it, and so
use that vacation. Do some BGS, you lazy bum.
I know. That might be in my future. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Those clinics I'm closing off, but I got some spaceships to fly. Sorry about that.
Yeah. You gave me the
Anyway.
vacation time, and you're not going to pay me to be there. So what do you expect me to do?
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's just one of those things where I just got to yell at somebody, and they're going to go, okay. And it was just kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Just like that.
No, it's pretty much how it's going to go.
Yeah, because the person he's yelling at doesn't have the power to change that decision. So
Well, he'll get it taken care of. I've known the guy for 20 years. He'll get it. He'll take care of it. It's just the chief of staff is kind of a grumpy Gus. So
yeah, well, that's their job.
but he's really grumpy. So
Have you ever met a chief of staff that wasn't?
we had a couple of apathetic ones, and then the ones
okay.
at the other the ones that,
See, that's the high water mark. That's people who don't work in hospitals don't know, but that is the high water mark for a chief of staff. He's
Well,
apathetic.
there's the occasional one that probably has a nasty coke habit. They're always chipper.
yeah. And then at the other hospital, the chief of staffs are friends of mine, so that one it goes a lot easier. So
Yeah, he gets a
An
pass.
apathetic friend.
I get so it's all good.
Cool beans.
Next,
Next, I declare to be Chig. Hello. How you doing?
Hi. Let me see. Real life. Remember, I started a new job, so there's been that, getting used to that. So that's been fun. I went to my daughter's jazz tonight, where she plays the flute. So she is Ron Burgundy, a jazz flutist. I've mentioned that before, and it went long tonight. So we're recording later than normal, and I'm already tired. So this is gonna be great.
That's my line.
I've been playing some Elite, actually. That's kind of the only thing I have been playing. Oh, and I started The Expanse again. I don't know why.
Is this number 6 or 7?
already. 7 or 8. I don't even know. The first season for sure, it's got to be close to double digits.
I've got 5 full watches under my belt. Just a question for the 6 Timers Club. Does it ever start to get less good?
No, it gets better.
Awesome.
Even little things just are, I don't know. It's like, how did I not notice that the first 5 times I watched, or 8 times I watched this? It's crazy.
I feel like I'm slacking. I'm only on 3 times.
And then
You are slacking.
last night, between running Grown CZs, I got into a CQC match. I was like completely shocked. And there were 2 guys in there, and the score was like 2-0, and there was like a minute left in the match, and they beat. I didn't get. Well, I got 1 kill, so I didn't end up stealing the win back. And then they didn't leave right away, so actually a fresh match started, and I noticed right away that they're both just shooting at me the whole time. And so
They know you.
I got to play a couple matches against a couple randos and got, picked up a couple wins, and then I signed off. It was kind of fun. So I couldn't believe that there was an actual CQC. They got some kills on me. I'm rusty, but it was fun. It was neato spaghetti to actually see some people in there. That was the first time I got a random match in a long, long time. So there was that. So I was in my happy place for half an hour it takes to 20 minutes to play 2 matches.
Yeah, 20 minutes. Yeah.
Mhm.
It was kind of fun. And then I watched The Expanse till I fell asleep, and now we're here.
Awesome.
Oh, and I went on the forums this week for somebody in our Discord decided to post something on the forums, but I think we'll talk about that later.
For some psychotic reason. Yes.
Yeah,
Reasons that can't and won't be explained.
definitely. These reasons were soaked in so much salt they became raisins.
Oh, God.
Jeez.
Oh, God. Make it
I
stop.
just came up with that, by the way.
It shows.
Take them to Alabama.
It got a dad
Outstanding.
laugh from all of you, so fuck off.
All right, what's next? It's Nurgle.
What have I been doing? Well, last week, of course, we recorded on the 4th of July last week, and what happens on the 4th of July in a city that made fireworks legal?
Same thing that happens in all the cities that made fireworks illegal. Just so you're aware.
Well, no, I'll tell you, in my entire lifetime, fireworks have been illegal in the city. And last year,
Your
After
entire
4th of
lifetime?
yeah,
So, like, since the invention of fireworks?
I knew that was coming.
Gandalf was over
Thanks,
there
man.
with his dragons and stuff.
And so last year they made fireworks legal on the 3rd and 4th of July, New Year's, and one other day. I forget. It's 4 days out of the year that they're legal.
And you feel like you detect a change in behavior.
Oh, yes.
Interesting.
So to back up to February, we got a puppy. She's a Aussie Shepherd. I think I've talked about this before. She's a rescue. We got her when she was about 9 months old. She is a neurotic nervous wreck. She is on anti-anxiety meds. And in the middle of recording last week, she lost her shit
Yeah.
with the fireworks going off, and I had to drop out of the recording. And literally sat on the couch and held a shaking dog for a couple hours until the fireworks stopped. You could not see the road in front of my house from all the smoke from the fireworks.
Oh, wow.
It looked like it was foggy outside because the people a couple of doors down decided to have their own fireworks display. So yeah, it was bad. It was bad. I really would like them to go back and outlaw the fireworks again so I don't have to deal with that, but that's neither here nor there. In between, being retired is nice. Got a chance to play some. Been doing, redacted and redacted at redacted, as we've said multiple times with stuff going on. But I've had plenty of time to play and get in some CZs and get in some bounty hunting, and I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to get involved in the CG we'll talk about later, but been good.
Right on.
Next.
And next is the Oblivious.
Well, a couple of months ago, I got this little blue postcard in the mail from the Georgia DMV.
Uh-oh.
It said, "Lucky me, I am now of the age that I need to renew my license, but I have to come in and take an eye test at the DMV."
Uh-oh.
Sure. Uh-oh.
And then I noticed it was pretty interesting. The font on that postcard was really small. But anyway, it had this extra little note that said, or if you've had an eye test within the last year, you can have your doc fill out this form and send that in along with 2 means of identification that proves that you still live where you say you live, blah, blah, blah. And you can then do it by mail. Going, Jesus, by mail, what the hell? I started thinking about, it's been a long time since I've been to any government agency within Georgia. Maybe they've done some modernization. I took a look and sure
Nope.
they've got an app. And I
All right.
download the app and I'm taking a look at it and it's, oh, great. I can actually take that form and upload it to them, which I did. And it said, okay, within a week to 10 days, you're going to get an email from us that says, we've got the form, we've accepted it, and now you can go ahead and complete your application and renewal online. Week to 10 days go by, nothing. So I upload it again. Says it's taking it, same thing, week to 10 days, week 10 days go by, nothing. Damn. Okay, so I'm going to have to go to the DMV. Well, the whole app has this little feature that tells me where the closest office is to me and links right direct to one of the map apps. So jump in the car, Still got my form with me too, hard copy of the form, and I drive takes me directly to an office that has been closed for the last year and a half.
Nice.
Very
Nice.
good. Love it.
So I did go online outside of the app, found the new DMV location, nice new building, pretty well set up. Get in. There's a queue of like 12 people in front of me. I go through that line. She says, "Well, have you filled out this particular form?" Well, I did try, but I didn't get this. Well, go in the back, fill this form out. But you don't have to get in the line again. Come back up front. I do all that. It all seems very inefficient to me. Then I finally get to the booth and
Wait.
Tell
A
the
government
girl-
agency seemed inefficient.
even more so.
Weird.
He's rolling.
Get up to the booth and sitting there, and the girl's telling me, "Okay, well, we need to do the eye test." And I slide the form. Said, "Well, here's the form." So, "Well, I can't use that here." I said, "Okay, so we'll go ahead and do the eye test." And then she starts typing away, and then she goes, "Oh, well, we see that you submitted it online and it's been accepted, so you don't have to do the eye test."
Oh God.
So took the picture, walked out, and that was it. And my faith was restored in government agencies. And,
Really?
yeah,
Weird.
yeah, because they're consistent.
Well,
All
yeah,
right.
that's true.
They did what he
Yes.
expected, so he's
That's
faithful
it.
now. Yeah.
That's right. That's it. He did- got an app, and yeah, it didn't work.
Or did it?
In game,
Heard it.
in game, I did manage to contribute to, I think, 3 of the hearts, but I did not get to see it explode. That was the first one that I didn't get to see explode, and then everything else I was doing, you need to join us in Discord to find out about.
There you
There you
go. Well, at the top of my note sheet, as always, is the stuff you have to join Discord to find out about. So this is all still classified, right?
Yep.
So I think
Still
you should play the
classified.
squadron update
So
sounder. We just sit here quiet for 90 seconds.
Squad
Hey,
update.
we've got a new sounder. Have you heard it?
No.
No.
I mean, Frontier had been playing on Twitch for hours.
Oh my God.
Oh, that-
How long did that end up going? I checked in when it was at like 8 hours.
I put it on. I don't know. I think you listened longer than me. I put it on. It was like in another browser tab while I was at work. And at the end of the day, I went and looked and it was still playing and there was still people chatting in there. So, I mean, I don't know. It's a shitload of engagement.
Well, no, I checked like during the day. You guys, I think Volt is usually on top of that. He's like, "Oh my God, Frontier went live." It's like, oh, okay. And then you guys are saying it was just a sound, and then I forgot about it. Then like 8 hours later, I hopped on, when I was at home, and I go, I wonder if that's still, if they ever found out what that was. And I went to Twitch, and it was still going. It was just past the 8 hour mark.
It was just like crowd walla and nothing else, no picture.
Yeah.
For hours and hours and hours, and it was just like over 1,000 people chatting.
Yeah.
That's all it was. I
Weird.
guess the supposition is that it has something to do with Planet Coaster 2, but with no confirmations coming out, it's just like, okay, well, I guess it's just all their social media accounts like linked it, but that's the only thing.
Just wow. All right.
Yep, a stunt.
Outstanding. Hopefully, it makes Guardian weapons immune. Never mind.
Oh,
Trigger
Yeah,
warning.
fair.
Trigger alert.
Crowd walla. Insert here.
Crowd wall. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. Should I follow the order here? The next thing is the Galnet
No.
update. No. We'll stick Galnet at the end.
Why?
I don't know.
Well, I thought
don't
when
know.
he said
Well,
when he said follow the order, I thought he was meant squad update next. That's why I said no.
Oh no, I thought we'd already done. We did. It's classified.
We're
Did
right.
that.
Correct.
We did it, and then
that.
we joked about the Walla for a little while. Anyway, so then Galnet. Okay, there was a couple of Galnets. What does this say? There was What do you want? What do you guys want from me? The superpowers talk on the financial impact of the war.
Boring.
I have to tell you, yep. So I don't know. This is, I guess, potentially groundwork for power play
Or it's Elite
happening.
GPT doing its thing.
Or that. I don't know. It doesn't, whatever. It is what it is. Thargoid War Bulletin slaying the dragon. So what's her name there? Sanderlin decides to watch a Titan explode and describes it in text.
And says it was awesome.
She says it was wild, but then, tries to say some poignant things as well.
Yeah.
That was definitely AI.
Sanderling is AI.
She mailed that one in.
Do I have that name right, or am I Sanderlin?
Yeah.
Lynn? Yeah, okay. Jade Sanderlin. Okay. And then today, Pilots Federation alert. So we have a community goal. It is based around the plot thing that happened last year.
Yeah. Boy, you're going to have to be more specific there.
Yeah. The Federation has requested shipments of supplies in the Ray system to help rebuild critical infrastructure because, the incoming federal president's home planet was cracked in half and then stuck itself back together, I guess. And
Super glue.
yeah, like everybody died and or a lot of people did. So anyway, they want some supplies and they're offering, let's say this correct. So they want, who cares what they want? They want supplies. Go look it up. Who cares what I say about it? You're going to go Inara this stuff to find it anyway.
Don't they want
Well,
titanium?
what supplies? What
Titanium?
supplies they need?
They need titanium.
They need titanium, aluminum, and power generators.
Aluminium.
Power generators.
Yep.
Power generators. They've been without power this long? What is this, Houston?
It is.
Oh, too soon.
Basically.
Too soon,
Basically.
even for Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of stock around to be had. I'm running shipments as we speak. So if tier 4 is made, then vibrant orange SRV skin will go to the top 50%. And if tier 5 is achieved, a size 6 corrosion resistant cargo rack will go to the top 50%, which is what I'm in for. I missed the size 5 that happened some years ago at this point because I didn't think it was important because I only ever used size 4s on Thargoid combat ships, right? But now I have a larger combat ship for Titans and occasionally have run into an issue and whatever. I don't feel like missing it this time, so I'm going to go grab that sucker.
And this is a purely hauling CG, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's no other
Yes,
side.
there is no other thing to it. Yeah. So
I feel like Lark will be in for the orange SRV skin.
Lark will be in for that.
Yeah.
I'll say tracer ammo. I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's weird that there was a planet quake a year ago, and then now they're like, send us stuff now. A year later.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Was there a CG at the time for
down
medical
there on
supplies or
Rhea
something?
Because FDev, that's why.
I might know.
Was there a
because of-
CG at the time?
No,
medical
there was
supplies?
not.
No.
No, that's Elite GPT just got that far back in reading stuff, and it's like, oh, here's something that might need to be fixed.
Yeah, and there wasn't even a natural disaster. I flew to Rhea 3, and I was looking for something in system, and there was no
Oh yeah.
Rhea having a natural disaster or anything. I'm like, they had a freaking planet quake, and it made the news,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, it's not
Everything's fine. Nothing to see here.
Because there is a BGS state for natural disaster, right?
That is
and they
correct.
Yep.
neglected to use it.
Correct.
Well,
She can't even disaster right. Who voted for her? So
my goodness.
I mean, I'm feeling the salt on that one. Yeah, no, but it's yeah. So I mean, I'm excited about the corrosion, but probably it's not going to even make tier 4. I mean,
Oh no, with the corrosion resist, I bet it. We'll get to tier 5 on this.
okay,
I think so.
Okay. Well, that's good.
In fact, let's see. What is? Let
Now,
me
you know the
refresh
story
Inara
behind
here.
Now you guys know the story
Predicted estimated completion 90% in 6 days. 5. Okay, so technically at current pace, Inara is estimating that we will only reach 90%. So maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, we're only a few hours in. That prediction isn't worth the pixels it's written in.
Now it's reading estimated completion 100% in 5 days. It's picking up.
Oh, I just refreshed it. Whatever.
Oh.
You're right. We don't have enough data though to
You're right.
extrapolate.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm an
Because that's what
optimist.
I thought too. That it said 5 days, and now because it I think probably everybody had a bunch of this crap on their carrier and they dumped it. Because if you look at the participation curve, it went up and it peaked at whatever 100% on the graph is. It's dropped down to 40% of its peak just in the past. Let's see, that was at 5. So less than 4 hours ago, the peak dropped off.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, and power generators are one of those items that people tend to stockpile for CGs and their fleet carriers.
I do actually
y'all know
have a few, but the aluminum and other stuff is just too close by. There's no need to involve fleet carriers in this right now.
Yeah. So do y'all know the story behind the corrosion resistant? Why there's no size 2s and size 3s?
This was a failed CG, right? I have a vague memory of this.
Yeah, it was a failed CG. I mean, they had this whole CG and it'll unlock them based on the tiers, and like the only one that got unlocked was a size 4. So
Well, the size 1 is available too.
yeah, but it wasn't part of that CG.
Size 1.
Yeah, so it's like the size 2s and size 3s never ended up getting unlocked, and they never actually said, "Hey, we'll give you a second chance at that one." I mean,
yeah, and then
Yeah,
later there was like a one-off size 5 and maybe a size 6. We can't quite
a size
remember.
5, but
Yeah. The 6, I have a 6 size 6 rack on my Titan ship. So that's where this would go, because I do occasionally pick up scrap and some of it's toxic.
Yeah.
So anyway. So that's all that's going on in Galnet. Apparently that was enough to get a few people who are starved for such things to really, I don't know if they were satisfied, but it certainly whet the appetite for articles. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the game's I don't know how else to say it. The game sucks more when there isn't a steady flow of Galnet. But when there's just like an occasional, and then a Titan blew up, I don't know.
They need to do more than
They
mail
fall
it in.
flat. Yeah.
I'm
So,
hoping
I don't know.
this is like that last wide Sargasso Sea where there was like no Galnet for like a year, but with the infusion of PowerPoint 2.0, it's going to get like some amount of juice. I mean, I don't know what their personnel is like. I don't know who does I'm writing the Galnet update, I'm posting the Galnet update, or how any of that works.
ChatGPT does it.
Yeah, but I'm hoping that there's, some sort of steady stream of, even if it's a slow, steady stream, that there's a rhythm to it after the PowerPoint 2.0, PowerPlay 2.0 comes out.
No,
I keep
keep
calling
saying
it
it the right
PowerPoint.
way.
You
Keep
can
calling
say
it PowerPoint.
that's fine.
Okay, PowerPoint 2.0. That's what it is. But I mean, that's kind of my hope, and
Right.
It's going to be a slideshow. Great.
Death by PowerPoint.
yeah,
I
got
have a random
Princess
question,
Aisling
just-
as my background.
Out of nowhere, when I log out on foot while on a station, it gives me the 15-second countdown because it says I'm in danger. Does everybody get that, or do I have some weird bug in my files that I need to clean up?
You're
special.
personally
Just
in
you.
danger.
Well, there's no danger at all. Nobody can carry weapons. There's nothing that can hurt you inside when you're on the concourse. When you're in the airport terminal here.
It's not you're in danger. You're endangering everyone else.
Well, I can't hurt anybody. Seriously, it's the dumbest thing ever. So every time I go to log off when I'm in in a station, I got to wait for the countdown. So it's actually quicker for me to run to my ship and log off. It's just really dumb. But
You pick
Just
Chig as
thought
your
I'd mention
avatar,
it.
dude.
All right. I
just
just needed to
just
vent.
allowing for.
This-
this was,
I knew that the show would have-
take a shot at you.
Well, I knew that this show would have no salt, so I needed to add a little bit there. Just to
No,
Just to balance the
Put
let in
flavor.
there. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Content creating there, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm just being courteous to our listeners. Keep things fair and balanced.
On that note, it's time for a Thargoid War update. Roar.
Rawr.
Roar. So here's your update. Indra done blowed up, and
Done blowed up.
interestingly, it was slower than usual. That sucker lasted until Monday.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I thought-
actually exploded on Tuesday. So,
Odd.
yeah, wild, right?
Yep.
So, I've heard a lot of nonsense floating around.
You want to hear a
about why
theory
that
why I
might have
think it?
been.
No, let's hear your nonsense. I got my own theory.
Oh, I mean, I think I feel I know exactly why it
What is
happened.
it?
I'm just saying there's a lot of actual nonsense that has nothing to do with it. Hypotheses bandied about that like FDev changed something or pulled a lever to make it more difficult as we get to the end, or some such nonsense like that, which is hokum, of course.
Okay, downside, I say it's a little bit of player apathy because we're getting bored with it. That's my downside. The plus side and a little optimism that FDev might be paying attention is there was a U.S. holiday weekend and they might have just tweaked the knob just a little bit to push it a couple days further out. Just saying.
Actually,
I don't think they pay that much attention, but
I don't think they had to tweak anything. I think the fact that it was both a holiday weekend here and elections in the UK meant a lot of people didn't have a lot of time to play.
Well, that might have had a slight effect. However,
I mean, do they celebrate their elections with barbecues and fireworks? I mean, it's
well,
like
of course.
if I had a bank holiday, I would be like flying my space because there's nothing else to do on a bank holiday.
They're human beings.
well, what they usually do is just do some dry humor, eat some bland food, and maybe drink some tea. I'm just guessing.
Okay, so holidays may have had a slight impact, but by far the greater impact is able to be confirmed with actual like player engagement numbers, where you could see that the focus was on other systems where there were invasions and conflict zones, which was where fully 50% more than usual people were doing other AX activities besides the Titan.
So people were out doing the fly, shooty instead of the blowy, uppy.
Right, exactly. And then, the pace was very slow. And then on Monday, it was like, it's almost dead, but it's not dead yet sort of thing. Okay, we'll finish this off. You see the player engagement spike real hard, and suddenly it's losing like a heart in less than an hour again, which is much more up to normal pace. So, I don't know, maybe a little bit, but there was tons of player engagement in conflict zones elsewhere in the galaxy fighting Thargoids. So I think that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
That, well over 3/4 of the players who were
you take your
the player engagement who were showing up on like the watch site were not involved at the Titan at all.
Spreading misinformation.
But in a way, that's a good thing, because I think one of the complaints with the early Titans were that there were just some of them got taken out before some people had actually had a chance to get logged on or get their ship ready or that kind of, and all those things that, however they tilted the scale, whether it's by giving people something else to do at the same time or giving it a few more hit points or whatever. It's good because, folks like to do things that get them the shinies. So,
last Titan, the Python 2 had just come out and people were trying it out. People were excited. There's nothing new or fun that happened on this one. In fact, the only new and fun thing that happened was more invasions are back. And so people went elsewhere probably. So, yeah, it's the fifth one,
Which one's sixth?
Thor
has about half as many controls as the other two that remain, so that'll be the next target for sure.
Gotcha.
Do you think they're going to have us go through all 8 of them, or do you because I'm waiting for them to just pull a retreat or do something whack job, because it's just like doing this, Titan clubbing 8 times in a row is kind of.
Why don't you've heard the theories about how the decal is like unbalanced, so if you do 8 stars, it wouldn't look right. So they think the last one will retreat. I know that's what I'm saying too, but I listen to Wave Radio.
I agree that they shouldn't just remove the assets from the game, which would be sort of a waste of developed gameplay, right? But unlock something out in a nebula somewhere with a Titan in it, and there it can stay afterwards. I don't know. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't really be surprised by either event, whether the 8th one runs away or not. But But the
Someone posed the
decal
idea-
doesn't tell me anything about that, of course, because they can draw any decal they want for the next 3.
Someone posed the idea of sort of seasonal invasions at one point. I think it might have been on our podcast. It might have been on a different one, but just like, let's say we beat back this invasion in a couple of years, another one comes in, and then, or it might be just like, oh, they're going to invade the Pleiades, and it's like Thargoid season, and so we have like, okay, we're liberate the Pleiades this time around, or the Coalsack.
That would be the way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's similar to the way it used to be. Is like occasionally you'd have a little bubble up, and they would invade 3 or 4 systems, and then we'd beat them back over the course of a week or 2, and then we'd not hear from the Thargoids again for months. Actually, for a while that was steady, and then there was nothing, and then they came every few months for a while. Yeah, it was like a weird off and on thing. Is because I remember leading up to that the HIP 22460, there was all this like, salvation, I'm the one who can finally put this menace to bed, and around all leading up to that time it was like there was hardly any Thargoid activity. We were killing them in a matter of hours whenever they did pop up, and it was just a little bit like I don't know, menace? Maybe sell the danger a little harder, dear writers, because right now there is no Thargoid menace.
Well, he needed that pulse to attract the Thargoid menace, so
right,
he could
exactly.
actually have something.
Exactly.
Right now, there's only a mild Thargoid irritation.
There's a cream for
Hasn't
that.
even started to itch.
Exactly. Yeah, it hasn't even started to itch yet.
Wait.
Anyway, that's
Thargoid,
my piece.
hemorrhoid, same thing.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, like, especially the speculation that like our damage was nerfed or something like that. I don't know. I felt like I was doing more. I could easily clear 6 million in a run. I don't even have anything fancy made by Ramtah right now, so I don't see what the issue is. I'm just using my plain.
Why not?
My old-fashioned plain Jane equipment here, and anyway, the bonds you get are directly reflective of the damage. Okay, is that it? Is it time then?
Trigger warning.
That's the next thing on my list.
Yeah.
Trigger warning.
But how much more damage could you do with Ramtah?
Actually, I did the math while I was still excited about this, and the answer is very little. There's very little reason to worry about Ramtah's modifications when it comes to Titan attack. It's all about conflict zones and actually fighting things that shoot back. Well, I guess Titans technically shoot, but if you fly right, they don't. So I don't know. But anyway, the things that are actually hard to kill from a flying and knowing how to do it perspective and shoot back at you and have been the challenge kills in this game for ages. Those are the ones that we would care about anyway, whatever. I don't know. Somebody else talk, because this next thing.
Oh, this is all
you don't want to hear from me. Oh,
yeah,
come on.
We do want to hear from you.
This is the track segment.
Explain what they announced in game that Ramtah was doing.
Let me set him up. I'll set him up.
Yeah, as you did last week.
So yeah, that actually makes it appropriate. So last week the update came out, and I'll read the quote exactly of referencing Ramtah. His most recent breakthrough now allows all Guardian modules in all caps. All Guardian modules to
Underlined.
Well, no, I bolded and underlined in the notes, but all Guardian modules to have the anti-Guardian zone resistance modification applied to them without penalty. All.
Yeah.
Tracks go.
Did we lose Nurgle? What's happening?
Something happened.
I said tracks go. Did I wig out?
Oh, you cued me. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. That was exciting. As anyone who listened to last week's podcast, at least the beginning part, will remember, it was a very exciting time for all of us.
It was roundly applauded as a good change.
Yeah.
Wow, it was an opportunity to go farm some mats.
Well, okay, so there was mat farming involved, which I hadn't been thrilled about and I hadn't done yet, because previously this mod had only been able to affect Gauss cannons, I guess. And I guess it would affect any of the guns, but not. It would have a 20% damage penalty. So I don't know if anybody even bothered to anyway. Some people bothered to apply it. You know, they were doing Orthrus killing with the large shard cannons and stuff like that. Stuff that doesn't move, you can technically deal more damage to, but with the 20% damage penalty removed, you know, things look a lot better. The math still isn't huge, but I did see somebody post a screenshot of like the Titan damage, you know, with a cutter that has 6 of these shard cannons that are totally protected and immunized and doing like 12 million in bonds on a run. Now, here's the thing. That's a lot. That's a cutter. Yeah, that's a cutter with like 10 heat sinks running with 6 large shard cannons, which means you need those weapon stabilizer things. You got to farm the mats for 6 of those units and apply them to 6 copies of that gun. And you get double the damage per run that I get in my plain Jane Krite with serious missile racks. And you don't need the serious missile racks to clear 2 million per run. Anyway, this is all just a whole lot of silliness for basically nothing. But anyway, I was excited about the prospect of all these modules getting immunized, because the problem that I have right now is the glaive. The glaive is, I mean, I as I've said, I can't think of any other way to describe this other than it's basically a design mistake, the way they've put it into the game. And I didn't want it to be. I wanted it to be something different, but there's just no other way around it. If it comes into the instance, it's basically I just got absentmindedly flying into the slot without getting a goddamn landing request. Stupid cow, move. It's fucking Type 9. Okay, I have a fine now. Anyway, I'm just gonna sit out here for a few minutes. Whatever. I don't need to rant about the glaive. Like, I get the reason the glaive was put in, and then the AGF fields between that and the Orthrus. I think it makes a little more sense on the Orthrus because it's a purely defensive thing. But they're, you know, the idea that they're trying to make it difficult, you know, taking away the best guns as a means of making gameplay more difficult is questionable, right? Like, you really are going to have to write that in a way that makes good sense and leads to fun gameplay, because that's the thing. Like, is it leading to fun gameplay? Since then, we observe that the glaives and the sides as well, the other hunters, you know, one by one get systematically removed from almost all the situations where they used to appear in the game where they could actually cause a problem to somebody. Basically anywhere where they were actually doing their job, interdicting ships on their way to do whatever, being fast enough to stop that ship from getting away and then slowly pummeling it to death, deleting any Guardian modules they have to make it exceptionally difficult. All these it's not that it makes it exceptionally difficult, it's that it makes it so you either can't fight them or you put together a build that is specifically designed to fight them, in which case you can't fight other things like Hydra.
And that's the real problem. It forces you to build for one or the other.
It's the bifurcation, right?
Yeah.
So,
but they don't create game loops that are separate.
That are also bifurcated.
Exactly.
Yeah. But here's the thing: they had to, because the complaints roll in. So the glaive basically isn't involved anymore. If you'll notice, it's gone from all the places it used to be. Scythes don't interdict people. They basically don't show up except at ground ports where rescue missions are happening. And the glaive doesn't show up except in certain instances. It's gone from the low intensity and medium intensity CZs. It still exists in high and very high, which are CZs, in my opinion, that you would not want to bring things like multi-cannons to, because, you know, Medusa interceptors spawn regularly, and that's just not going to cut it.
Yeah.
You know, this is a higher level of Thargoid combat that happens there. It's higher intensity for a reason. So anyway, I just think it's silly. And I was like, okay, here we are, Ramtah. They're finally just going to let it happen to all of them. Now we don't have this, bifurcated scenario. Maybe that solves it. It's not it's like hindsight. I don't think that's how I think they should have done this whole plot. They could have found some other way to increase the difficulty, but this is what happened, and this is the way they decided to write their way around it, right? So, okay. So I go on the forum and I'm looking at the thing, and sure enough, a few posts down, Paul Crowther. Well, I'm just looking at this point, Chig.
Oh, okay.
At this point in the sordid story, I'm just looking at the forum.
Fooled. Sorry.
This messed
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, but I find, so Paul Crowther posts to confirm, because somebody said, basically, so this says all. Does all mean all? And Paul says yes. All means every Guardian module. Okay. Great.
Quoteth the expert, yes.
Yeah, like directly answering a question. Paul Crowther confirms on the forum that all means all Guardian modules, and it means all Guardian modules so strongly that it also affects Guardian hull reinforcements, which don't have integrity and therefore have no effect from the mod. But you can still apply it. And
Yay.
my understanding is Ramtah will still take your mats. So I wonder if anybody sent a support ticket about that yet. But anyway, that's kind of embarrassing.
Now, just explain that one to me a little bit with there's no integrity. Okay, because I'm not quite getting that.
Okay, so modules have integrity, right? Like if you look at your right-hand panel.
Yeah. Okay.
So your hull reinforcements, and likewise your Guardian hull reinforcements, if you have any, don't have an integrity rating. They can't be destroyed. They just apply their additional value directly to your hull. Right? So no, they can't take module damage, and module damage is what the AGF does to Guardian modules. So all the way from the beginning, the very first AGF, you could load up on Guardian hull reinforcements and they would not be melted by this. And so what people did was fill a cutter full of Guardian hull reinforcements and try to penetrate as deep as they can into the maelstrom, because these things, the only thing they do is provide 5% caustic resistance per module, which turns out to not really be worth it, and blah, 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 which is why nobody cares about Guardian hull reinforcements in the first place. But anyway, so that's embarrassing. They apply it to a module that can't get any benefit from it, which is very silly. I'm out farming mats. I found I got a bunch. I got enough to outfit probably a couple of my ships, which have a lot of Guardian modules on them. And some of those are pretty tough to get. The ones that you have to get from the Revenant, especially. But I got it done. And then after I got it done, I was basically planning on finishing up with Indra. And then after it explodes, I'll just fly over to Ramtah and outfit a couple of my AX combat ships with this new thing. And then somebody posts a screenshot that, of course, and we should have known, except that Paul told us otherwise, in my opinion, the salvation guns, for a simplified term, can't be modified because they're already modified. So because this AGF immunization isn't an experimental effect, basically they can't be modified. So this is the part where I start posting on the forum, because I'm kind of mad that, like, why did we get personal confirmation from the community manager saying, yes, all means all, if all doesn't mean all? Like, what else would we be asking for, And he's like, oh yeah, you can totally do your FSD booster. Not what we were asking about. Well, not what, I mean, I'm sure somebody, that's great that it can work on those, right? But that's not the issue. The issue is we're right back at the beginning of Guardian modules in the first place, where you have the Gauss cannon, the shard cannon, and the plasma charger. And 1 out of 3 of those is viable in interceptor combat, right? Just straight out of the gate by design. The other 2 just really aren't, because of their slow projectile speed and a few other things. And years go by, and eventually the Salvation storyline leads us to the modified versions, which bring those other 2 up to basically, effectively parity. They're not the same, so they each have advantages in certain situations, but they're all usable. So now suddenly there's this fun choice. You can choose what kind of guns to use, and you can fight anything. and that's fun. But those have not been brought along now, and they're still ignored. And of course, I shouldn't have posted on the forum. And of course, there's a little bit of agreement with my points, which I think are very well made points. But of course, there's also, it's the forum. So I get grief from people who, I don't get it. Honestly, I don't even, I don't know. I shouldn't try to explain it because it's unexplainable, but like, why these people give me this grief about, well, I should just be accepting of the fact that they, I shouldn't have everything handed to me on a platter or something. Like, that's the opposite of what I mean. I want to engage in difficult Thargoid combat. That's what I think is fun, not just bowling over Cyclopses with an Anaconda full of 6 plasma chargers, right? That's not how I play, right? I want a challenge. So I go into high intensity zones and I want to be able to do that. And I don't, those zones are effectively off limits because I can't, it's like we said, bifurcation.
Yeah, you honestly, I was impressed with your ability to be like, one guy who obviously didn't get it and kept kind of arguing with you. You're like, I think we're talking about different things, you said. And you tried to clarify because you specifically said that you would just skip the scout phase. And then his next post was talking about how, well, you can just kill the scouts really easy. And you're like, that's not even what I'm talking about.
Apparently, and this is the one thing that I learned through this whole process, besides once again relearning to never go on the forums, is that apparently there are people who go into AX conflict zones and ignore interceptors and just kill scouts, and apparently they can complete the instance that way.
Oh,
that's not right.
I don't understand this at all.
That makes no sense. Where do they go?
That's what he explained to me. He basically said, like, if you just kill these, because he was saying the only difference between, this is what he said to me. The argument was like, I want to be able to fly in high and very high intensity conflict zones because I get the higher level interceptors more often, right? There's like a better spawn rate. And he said, the only difference between like a low and a medium and a high is how many scouts you have to kill between the beginning and the end. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then I realized this is what so what he said might be true. Like, he might count scouts and discover that he can clear them and it takes, 80 scouts in one type and 30 scouts in another. That might be correct. It's just, it boggles me. Like, I've never tried that because I don't really fight scouts.
That's not what you're looking for.
I let the NPCs kill the scouts. I literally, if there's no interceptors on my board for a second, I like take a drink and wait for the NPCs to kill scouts,
You should have just dropped on him just to really set the forums on fire. It's like, do you know who you're talking to? We're a total AX squadron. Don't you know who I am?
It tells you that there are some people out there who are looking at it in a how many CZs can I complete in the easiest possible way because I'm trying to complete CZs and fight the war. And that's not what you're doing. You're looking for the high-level Thargoid to fight.
That's the scout sampling. It strikes me as like this person was probably a scout sampler, and that's how they've been nobly fighting the Thargoid war this whole time. And then when scout sampling and combat gets sort of it all gets re-equalized or whatever, they're like, oh, now we're into the conflict zones, and then they discover that they can just multi-cannon scouts for like 45 minutes, and it'll count as a medium CZ win.
And to that guy, thank you for your service, but we're talking about something else.
Right. And I gotta being careful not to like yuck this guy's yum or something.
Yeah.
It literally, I didn't understand what he was saying for a little while. And then the icing on the cake is like right below that in the forum. Somebody basically said, having not being able to choose the guns you want makes it more difficult. You should be happy about that. If you are who you say you are, kind of thing. Like, this is the sort of thing that should make commanders like Jantrax happy. And I was like, oh, thank you for absolving me of my responsibility to reply in this thread anymore.
You can go, if you go back to your Gausses, woohoo. That's lovely.
Well, that's what they did. They put it back that there's only one.
There's only Gauss again.
There's only one gun.
Yeah. We're right back where we were.
It should have been an experimental from the beginning, whatever. I don't know if they can, are they going to save this or are they just going to ignore it? Because that's It's so troublesome. The war will be
Yeah.
over before they fix it at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I think they can fix it with, I mentioned it today, was have Palin create an experimental that can be applied, but then it can be applied to the modified guns.
Yeah.
And then because the whole thing is that they're already engineered. And so you have to
Yeah.
remove the engineering to add the engineering, because that's just
Right.
and it's sort
You
of a
could go that
spaghetti
way.
code thing. Yeah, I mean that's what I would do if I was a coder.
I think, well, but you have to square it with more than the coders in my opinion. So I think the solution would be to have Azimuth be like, oh, well, Ramtah thinks they can do that. We're just as good as Ramtah. Here's our version.
But
And
they don't have an engineer.
Start selling well, they would just sell a different gun, or have you trade in your gun for an immunized one or some shit.
They have the Salvation AI. They have an engineer.
Well, my brain on that is Azimuth. Well, Ramtah, we can do what you can do, only better. Here, we're going to put this experimental on your guns.
Exactly.
So if I Ramtah a size 2 shard cannon, a regular one, and then bring it to Azimuth, they'll put an experimental that gives it the long range effect that their original mod shard had, and it'll be pre-immunized.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Any of this stuff is fine. Just have the 3 guns again. This is what we need. This is what the players deserve.
Choices.
The war's almost over. Let's make this happen, please.
I mean, think that there's 3 guns that work very, very differently, and really you can, what is it? Forge your own journey. What's the line they use for this thing? Is
right.
But yeah, I mean, shards.
Forge your own path.
Trigger as fast as you can. Plasmas you hold down and release, and Gauss aren't entirely. You got to time it right. It's just
they work differently, and they have different performance too, because you have a shorter effective range on plasma. The shards have the lowest armor pen. Well, it depends on the size too. Some of the smaller sizes have different armor pen, whereas a Gauss cannon is essentially a railgun, so it always has 100% armor penetration. But the other 2 guns don't, so their effectiveness falls off as you're facing higher interceptors to a certain extent, and so you have to rely on other aspects of them. Well, yeah, but you can fit more shards into a heat sink essentially. A weapons capacitor, their draw is less, whereas and the heat dispersion happens at a different time for the plasmas. So if you work those out, you can actually stay cold really effectively with plasma.
It's just dynamic gameplay, just by having different guns. It's what you like to do, what might be meta, what might not, and it's so close. It's just choices.
Choices would be outstanding.
And now for high-end AX combat, you're back to 1 choice.
Right. Yeah. And again, lows and mediums are fine. And as far as I'm concerned, anything with a landing pad in it is fine.
It's fine. Yep.
Because I'll deal with that challenge. You know what I mean? I'll get a few shots hopefully onto the glaive before it, and maybe between us and the NPCs, I can land. I can repair my guns quickly. I bring AFMs to these fights. I repair my ships. Right. So when I fought in the high and a glaive showed up, first of all, it didn't even do it where it melts my guns with the lightning. It just puts an AGF on the whole instance. So my guns are fully melted before I realize that I'm hearing the drumbeat and it's there. At that point, my 3 module reinforcements and my 4 guns are all completely melted. Now, it's going to take my entire AFM, which is a size 3 or 4 or something. I bring a big one because I repair a lot.
6 minutes?
It's going to take longer than that. It's going to take ages. That's the thing. I'm out of the fight for at least 10 or 12 minutes. That sucks, right? That's the reason this sucks. It's not and I'm in a solo instance. There was, I think, assuming there's other people there that could hold it open or whatever. This is all just, so it was oh, well, I guess I'll quit. So lows and mediums are fine. As far as I'm concerned, anything with a landing pad is fine, although I think you would have to go pretty high intensity before glaives showed up. I have seen them at surface ports before, which again, we were able to land and repair, so it was okay. It did. In that case, it increased the difficulty, but that's the I'm back
But
at the
what if-
beginning of this. The glaives have been taken out of all the instances where the players complained about how it was making things too hard, and the only places they're left are this few places where you can repair. And then there's also the high and very high, which you can't repair in, and nobody cares, I guess, because who's fighting in those? Certainly not 95% of the player base.
Very true. And honestly,
So,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
that's why it
tell
won't
you
be
right now,
fixed.
my take on it. I prefer Gauss cannon, so this is fine.
Sure. and I think there's a lot of good arguments for Gauss still technically being the best as an overall. If you're going to consider everything, especially since they don't lose any damage potential no matter what animal you're fighting, because of the armor penetration is like 120 or something.
But
Although
the others
Hydra
are
armor is
fun to-
ridiculous, but
The
anyway.
others are fun to mix in, though. They're, you want to solo Medusas. You had 3 choices that were 100% viable.
Yeah. Whatever. I killed Hydra with shards.
Well, exactly.
It can be done. It just takes a long time to kill the hearts because of that
was
spread.
your solo. Your first
Yeah.
solo Hydra was a chieftain and shards, right? And I went a phantom and Gauss. So neither one of us were really all that meta. We were trying to impress Lark.
We were trying to impress Lark. Yeah. So like, how salty am I really about this?
You're not.
You're
making sense, and that's sort of the frustration with FDev is that at a certain level they don't get their own game, and that there are certain things that are mechanic breaking, and the glaive. I mean, we've had this conversation 500 times. Is a mechanic breaking ship, and so and they've not been able to properly immunize the pilots. So if they're going to mix them in everywhere, that I need to be able to fight my Hydra at the same time that there's a glaive in the instance. Otherwise, it breaks the
It's the same instance. I can't leave and come back when the Hydra shows up. I can't go rearm myself, right?
And that's just it. You need to point that out to maybe people that don't know AX Combat. Separately, we don't care about either one at all. They're fine. We'll fight either one.
Exactly.
It's when they're in the same instance together. There's no way to fight them both at the same time.
And that's the crap I got on the forums. It's like, it was like, geez, I didn't think the glaives were that hard to kill.
They're not.
Oh
That's
my
not
God,
the point.
facepalm.
Not at all.
Did you have guns when you fought them? Because I didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe that had something to do with it, dipshit. And I shouldn't because like that's actually a quote of somebody. I shouldn't like insult them or whatever. But it's weird. It's the comment like the comments like that. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to make of that.
It's a fundamental misunderstanding of the situation. Yeah.
And forums are hellscapes. I mean, whether it's a chronic illness forum or it's a video game forum or it's a Reddit or whatever, but forums are just an utter hellscape.
It's all the same thing.
Yeah, they're all the same thing because you have people. I mean, people have evolved to a point where they cannot admit being wrong, and so they're gonna dig in.
Yeah,
you
also be have irrational. A percentage that are literally doing it on purpose. They play dumb, or trolling. It's an Olympic sport, and you don't know who is or not. You can be like, this person's so stupid, but they could be doing it on purpose. You just.
Which, to be fair, is still stupid. It's just a different kind of stupid.
It's just pointless. The whole thing is just pointless. It's a form of communication that there's no nuance, and people can. Yeah. You've got stupid people. You got smart people. You have people with malicious intent. You have everything, and you don't know which is which. You just have to.
Yeah. You can't tell. Yeah.
So the upside, if I can find one, like. How mad am I? I don't know. Like, it's a little weird to. The thing that I'm really mad about is like getting it confirmed that it means all, and then having it not be that way, and then of course it sucks to have people sass me and say things like, "Well, those are already modified, dummy." Okay, let's not pretend like this whole AAGF immunization is really well thought out because. Case in point, the hull reinforcements. Okay, no, they did not think carefully about this and decide exactly the way they wanted the game to come out. They just put a thing in there and it didn't work exactly right. So it'd be rad if they would go in and make a little fix and be like, you know what, we should have just done this to begin with. I kind of don't think they will. But the other background change is the changes to the Thargoid War that cause invasions to happen more effectively because they skip the alert phase in many cases, and that they're going to be doing this forward operating bases, reactivating a port even in control systems so that you can have landing pads in a lot of the conflict zones. That's going to improve this as well from the other end. It's kind of that's a direction that's perfectly acceptable, as I've said, So that's there. And
that is a good solid change too, because a lot of people like those combat at surface ports for all the reasons we've already talked about.
So much so that they will put off killing a Titan to go do them.
Yeah, exactly.
I want, what is it, HFP 22460 back. That's what I want back in my life, and I'll play it.
Well, go immunize your Gauss cannons and get in there.
It's
still
like
there.
I need to go farm some mats.
So you need
Nah.
caustic crystals, which are found most plentifully in an active Titan before you get in the cloud. In fact, here's some content. Best place to find these things. So you need caustic crystals, which are the rarer form of the caustic crystal or the caustic shard, which are the things that just sort of drift around in the cloud just when you get in past most of the generator mines. Drift around in there before pushing all the way in, and you'll find them plentifully. Be careful how many caustic sinks you spend while you're drifting around in there, but pick them up. A live Titan will also have these little green nodules occasionally on its surface. If you fly kind of close to the surface, you'll see this little green light. You can laser that, and you will get hardened surface composites or something, hardened surface fragment. That's what it is.
Lance Titan zits to get whatever this material is.
And you can shoot those with your beam laser. You don't need anything special to laser them off. So you can
squeeze them.
So those are easy to get.
What the Type 8's for.
In my opinion, the harder thing to get was the something chip, which is a rare drop from Revenant. I think you can probably get these from the surface sites that are like AX reactivation missions, but the problem is if your ship lingers there for very long, you will get interceptors spawning in. So you have to kind of go out onto your SRV to pick those up. But you can still do it. Just, lay waste to a bunch of Revenant, hoover up any if they drop, and then wait for a scout to replenish them. Kill the Banshee first. I went to did it differently. I went to a Spire site, which is a little bit more. I thought it was easier, but I'm not sure. I'm not as good with the SRV, so I drifted around, blew up the Banshees, and then just kept blowing up Revenant and letting them respawn and defending myself from scouts at the Spire site. While my limpets hoovered up a bunch of things. It took me
your estimated time sink to get enough to do 4 guns and I don't know, a couple. No,
so 6.
Yeah.
So you'd need 6 chips, 6 crystals, and 12 hardened surface fragments. You could. Oh my God! I did it again. I got gonna get another trespass fine. This is why I usually don't fly when I'm on the podcast. Anyway. I think one trip to the Titan, you could easily get those while you're just going in to do a bombing run. You could get the ones that are in there. The chips from Revenant are harder. I spent probably a couple of hours at Spire site. I think I did 2 basically complete using up staying there until I'd used up my ammo. It was a little difficult for me. And I don't know, some people have said it was easier for them, so maybe they have a better method, but I was killing the Banshees first, which takes a little while. There's 9 of them. I have 3 missile racks. So eventually I put 1 multi-cannon on, and I would kill off some scouts when they started to pile up on me. So then I only had 2 missile racks, which proved to be enough, but ammo was a little tight. And I don't know, you occasionally have to drift out 12 or 15 kilometers and repair and come back in for some more. It took a while. It's a rare drop, and the limpets are not 100% reliable when you're picking stuff off the surface either. So
What if you're running around? So these fall off revenants, you're saying? You need
yeah,
full
and you
revenants?
can't target them in your ship, but your limpets will pick them up if you're close to the ground.
If you're in an
or
SRV,
they will attempt to.
scouts will
In the-
kill you.
If you're in
Right.
SRV, well, apparently they scouts ignore your SRV, but the Revenant
Oh.
and the Banshees don't, obviously.
Okay.
So I guess if you wanted, I mean, it depends how good are you at killing Revenant, right? If you go in, I would say try this. Take a
Can you
ship.
pick them up on foot?
No, you need an SRV to pick
God
them up.
damn it. 'Cause I
Yeah,
can
so
kill those things all day on foot.
I would say take a ship with some missile racks, blow up the Banshees, keep to blow up the Banshees, keep them close to the ground, and hit the spot between all of their little red spotlights on the ground. It'll take a while. Occasionally they'll fly up into the sky, in which case you should back off and wait for them to go near the ground again so that the splash damage could hit them. Eventually those die, and then those don't replenish. So at that point you could land, try to hide your SRV somewhere. Maybe it's a Scorpion, so that you have the missile launcher for shooting out Revenant really easily. Maybe you shoot the Revenant on foot with your rocket launcher, however you want to do it, and then hop in the SRV and scoop them up. I think you should be able to see them and target them and see what they are on foot, but you can't, they need a cargo scoop to pick them
I
up.
really hope Azimuth comes up with a version of this where we cut Guardian shit and we're running around shooting things and stuff again, because this sounds like too much work for me.
Yeah.
Just saying.
So I think I got enough to make like 19 modules. I haven't modified anything yet.
Waiting to find out if they change what can be modified.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not, the Gauss isn't my favorite to use, and nobody's going to follow me and want to do like high intensities anyway. I don't know. I'm just not digging it. So I'm going to just chill on that for a little while. I don't know. Maybe I'll immunize my module reinforcements and then I'll have less to repair, but because that'll obviously, that'll still work later on, but I don't know. I'm not running out to do it anymore. Unless I can immunize the whole ship, I don't care about immunizing anything. I don't need it for the Titan. Nobody does.
Yeah. True. All right.
Yeah. Well, this has gone on long
Way
enough.
too long. I mean, just the right amount of time.
So, is there anything else to stick in the show? Community Corner, Buckyball. I haven't heard anything about this next race yet.
And boobs.
I
not
feel like
there.
they would have. I can't remember if I've gotten to the end of Lave. Yeah, I got to the end of Lave. They didn't mention it, did they? Or did I just forget?
I'm trying to remember.
Oh, I feel like a jerk now. Oh, well.
Oh, Alex, what is it called? Top Gun or something like that?
No, that was the last one.
that was
That
the
concluded. The
Yeah.
new one coming up is called Questing on Quixie by
Oh, that's
Clarissa Au. But it just says, our notes just say coming later in July. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's later in July now than it was last time. So I don't know.
But it's not later enough.
It's not later enough, I guess. I
s-
hope we're correct that it's not later enough and it's not that I'm being a jerk.
No,
Yeah,
you're not
we're-
being a jerk.
We're
I mean,
barely
you're being a
approaching
jerk,
middle
but-
of July, not late July. How's
No,
that?
but there's nothing on it yet, other than
Okay.
the title. So
Okay. Well, there you go. Coming later in July, everybody.
This July?
this July,
Okay.
the one we're in.
I see.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else anybody wants to stick in here?
Now let's close this off.
I saw a meme
Not
earlier
even if
that
that's what
said-
she said.
that said that there was one. I always like to take a shot at our English friends, I guess. But I saw a meme earlier that said that there's one holiday that like more countries celebrate than other that happens to fall on a different date of the year, and yet all these different countries celebrate it. And it was their independence from the British Empire. So that's
I get it.
mention that.
Love ya, mean it.
My pinky's out while I sip my tea.
Oh man.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. It's the month of our independence, so I figured I'd just mention that one.
Smear it on like so much cream cheese.
Yes, us disgusting colonials. And that is the cheese of the day, Philadelphia cream cheese. Thank you very much.
Freedom City cheese. Yeah.
Philadelphia,
Freedom
home of
City
independence
cheese.
and whatnot.
Yes.
All right,
That's
good
a good
enough
show,
then.
guys. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Well, thanks everybody who's listening. A few people did pop in to claim their badges for making it all the way to the end last time. One of them
That's
late
true,
enough
they
in the
did.
week that I had fully fucking forgotten what the hell they were talking about. But we quickly remembered, and the badge that
It's now pinned.
the badge is now pinned, so it won't be forgotten again. Another immaculate AI creation.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's going to do it for us on the 11th of July, which I just realized I didn't say the date. earlier.
33, 7, 45, 6, 2, 1.
22,460.
8675 309, which also happens to be the highest prime number I know. All right.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Ratings and reviews are good, but nobody does that, so I don't know. Whatever. It's probably, is it because I don't say it, or do I not say it? 'cause nobody does it? It doesn't matter.
Smash the bell.
Smash that like and
Put a crack in it.
Visit our Patreon if you want to see about supporting the show. It's all fun and games. And there's a merch store if you want to. All that's
Oh my
in the show
God,
notes.
you're going to keep talking.
Okay. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
everybody.